and Ravin, you have given us a fantastic session to do now just after lunch. So I'm going to invite all our panelists, very erudite academicians on stage today, that we have the very pleasant and easy job of keeping everybody engaged and energized, just for the after lunch session. And I have no doubt that this conversation will be such that everybody will be on the edge of the seats. So, Ravin, if you are here, I would like to start by congratulating you and your team for choosing a topic like the one we are going to discuss now. The topic on redefining success and failure in a hyper-competitive academic environment. So, although as much as by providence, I happened to see the interview of, I have tough time keeping the attention of my panelists, let alone now what will happen with the attendees. Yes, Abhay? Yes, yes. So, I just wanted to start off by sharing a very coincidental interview I saw of Dipender Goyal 2 days ago, the founder of Zomato. And he shared his life story, and he said that how as a student in school, he was not a very good student, quote unquote, not a quote unquote good student. He would fail in his grades, and he perpetually lived in the fear of being admonished for not getting good grades, and he would be very traumatized on being compared to his friends, and even when he got into IIT. And frankly, he started Zomato because he did not want to be compared with his friends for what salaries he started the job at. Now, at that time, was he a failure? And today, because he has built a unicorn, is he a success? Or was he already a success at that time? So these are stories of people around us that I think contextualize the question that we are here to discuss. And I'm so delighted to be in the presence of very experienced, very erudite academicians who have personally mentored and coached thousands of people. So we have about 40 minutes for this discussion, and for the ease of navigation and facilitation, we have mutually agreed to keep our responses short and engaging. And I'm going to start, Madhu ma'am, with you. You have been, as I always introduce you, a tower house, a powerhouse, and a lighthouse of knowledge and inspiration to academicians and students in our country. So I'm going to start by asking you the first question. And here I have it. What do you think, in your opinion, how can we encourage students to view failure as a valuable learning experience rather than as a permanent setback?
I think, Rajita, this is, first, thank you. And Rajita, I think it's very near to my heart. So this question, whenever you will give me 1 minute or 2 minutes, but time is very less for answering this question. And I'm very thankful to my co-panelist, B. Suresh sir, because he is, I am always say that he is a role model for me. I have learned so much from you, sir. So I think it's a great honor. I'm feeling very small sitting with you. So yeah, so no, not physically, but mentally, sir. So it is, I'm feeling very honored. So what we have done is, because I was just telling some of my principals from Shri University, programs, that I am a passionate teacher, and I started teaching in 76. It's 48 years of journey. I taught P2P, primary to PhD. So whenever there was some, and everybody, every university and every colleges and in schools, they want to go to any industry. So there are setbacks. The first company comes and they take, now for example, in our case in Chitkara University, if first company comes and normally Infosys comes and they take 200 plus students, the others, those who are left out, they become so depressed, they thought this is the end of the journey. Right now there comes the point where we have we are there as a mentors. So what we do in our campus, we have started working and just researching that what we can do for these students, those and maybe times to come that Infosys is giving 3.5 or 4 lakhs of the package and they are selected after 2-3 months in a package of 10 lakhs or 10 lakh plus. But they don't know their destiny and they don't know that what is future for them. So we have started doing the programs with them, and there is a 5-point strategy which I am going to give all of you. If you are not doing, start doing it. It's a great model which we have experimented. The first, we have done the integrated failure days into the curriculum. Now, beautiful concept, and came out, one of the professors said, and one of the deans of my B school said, that ma'am, let us do one thing, and they were very good in case studies. So they started doing the failure days in the curriculum. And there, all the students, those who are unplaced, or those who were trying something good, or those who are not getting good CGPA, they all will sit in a room, they will all discuss, and they will see that what was my portfolio, what portfolio I gave to the company, and everybody will discuss. It's a very open discussion. And then from there onwards, they will start interacting with each other and rewriting their portfolios. So that is a good scheme. Second, we have started with the Skill Verse program, where we have started a DICE program. In the evenings, the students will come to that center. They will play with the ideas, they will do whatever they want to do, and they will start working on those ideas. Nobody is going to judge them. If there is no judgment, if there is no evaluation done, they will do wonders for us. And from there, the outcome is that we have got many startups coming from that DICE center, from the center of incubation. So, because that was the place where there were no fear that now company is coming, we will not be placed, HR is asking these questions, and we will not be setting fit for that. So I think these are the two. And the third, which is very, very important, we call the alumni and we call our industry people those who were failures and those who have not done good when they were going for the placements or going for that. So when they will tell them that now I am so and so, I am heading this industry and I am heading this department, but I was a great failure here. So they got a confidence. I think this is a time where we have to make them understand EQ is gone, SQ is gone. Social quotient and emotional quotient is gone of the students. We, after pandemic especially. So we are here. Our role is not to teach. They know better than us. Our role is just to facilitate them and just to mentor them. So.
Wow, wonderful. So integrating failure days, skill verse, and calling back so-called those who thought they failed at the placement back to talk about it. Fantastic. Abhay, I come to you. Continuing this talk about success and failure. Now we live in a world where we are all floating in this ocean of the pressures of ratings, rankings, publications, student outcomes. Now NEP is guiding us and enforcing so many things. In this environment, how would you evaluate, how would you view success and failure?
Question. A very loaded question, Rajita. I'll start with your example of Dipender Goyal. I think this was with Shraddha of your story when he shared how bad a student he was and how humiliated he felt when people started comparing. I somewhere connect that to who and what I was. Of course, I don't have the guts to say how bad I was in school and college, but to be very honest with you, I had a lot of peers ahead of me. And that competition quite often tormented me. Coming back to your question, I don't consider myself a success yet, but I have the zeal and passion to constantly improve. For us, in today's hyper-competitive environment, where educational institutions are looked at, graded, ranked, and also they have frameworks which has research output, student output, and all of these things going, true student transformation does not happen just with these matrices. Now let me explain a little bit, Rajita. I feel that the yardsticks to measure the success of an institution in transforming students are not by all of this. Says who? Me, who is part of the higher education system. We go through NIRF, we go through NAC, but true success, to me personally, now I speak as the Pro-Chancellor of Alliance University, is in evaluating higher educational institutions based on their holistic impact to students. This holistic impact, at least at Alliance, is measured by trying to introduce students to critical skills, the higher order skills that we speak of now, in their entire program. It could be critical thinking, it could be logical reasoning, it could be communication, which has become so much very important, where it's not just between humans, also with machines. Putting this part of the curriculum and making sure that a graduate inculcates the skill of being a lifelong learner, trying to be better and better every single day, I think is a true success that an educational institution can boast about. Yes, there are a lot of failures built into the system. Failures of having assessments in a certain way, but without breaching the rules, we can build certain yardsticks or at least processes that can help us. If we talk to students, we tell them failures will make you more resilient, etc. We as educational institutions should try best practices and fail at it and improve again. Best practices such as looking at a way in which student satisfaction surveys can be taken, so that we know and we understand, are they truly happy? Are they transforming themselves in this glorious institution of yours? Is there a student who feels left out? I think success is in not ignoring a single student, not ignoring a single child or student's developmental needs, and addressing that through systems and processes. I think finally, success of an institution will depend on understanding what the societal needs are and building processes, of course, transforming students to bridge that gap, to help the society grow eventually.
Wonderful, Abhay. So many great points. Encouraging students to become lifelong learners, teaching critical skills. I like that word. You know, we are using the word soft skills and making them seem soft, but they are not soft. They are critical for survival, and not just to survive, but to thrive. You spoke about true student transformation, and I like the fact that you said you feel you're not successful yet. So really defining
Not
it
yet.
as a lifelong journey and
Course.
not a
Of course.
destination.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Dr. Suresh, with that, I would like to come to you. Both Madhu ma'am and Abhay spoke a little about their institutional approaches. In general, there are so many education leaders here, and with your experience, what do you think, what is the role university should play in preparing for success beyond classrooms? Because today, for example, I have an AI master's in Srishi University, say we have a master's in AI program. The student studies the program, but what happens in the classroom is not enough. So what do you think as universities we all should do to prepare them for success more than what we do in the classrooms?
Thank you very much, Dr. Rajita Kulkarni and the moderator for this session. Greetings to my colleagues here on the panel. First of all, greetings from JS Academy of Higher Education and Research, which I am representing as Pro-Chancellor here, and thanks to QS for inviting me here for this session and this panel. Seeing the names, I said I should participate, otherwise normally I shy away from the events. I keep focusing in my boardrooms to do the work, but seeing such eminent people are on here, I came in and said, let me share my thoughts here. See, I would like to go at the root of the student itself. See, in healthcare, we quite often say the center of healthcare is the patient. It's not the doctor, it's not the equipment, it's not the hospital, it is the patient. Now, similarly, center of education is the student. Quite often what happens is, in our ambition to achieve certain competitive, hyper-competitive positioning of our institutions, we forget why we are existing. We are existing for the cause of student here. So I think whatever we plan, whatever we do, I think our focus should be, will that benefit student in any way, and then try to help them. Second is, I would like to mention here, whenever I try or whenever I address the students, even now I enjoy talking the students. I ask them a question generally. If it's a first audience, I will always tell them, how many of you want to be failure in life? Nobody puts up the hand. Of course, there will be a smart aleck. He'll simply put up his hand, try to show that he is different. But nobody puts up a hand telling that I want to be a failure. So everybody comes to an institution for a purpose of achieving education, and he wants to be successful. Now, we measure success and failure by his marks and his rank in the class and all that. And so he feels he is a failure in life and he cannot do anything. So he is not failed anything. His progression rate to the next higher class is different from what he is, what the others are. This I have seen with umpteen number of students in whom I have taught. Somebody will read 1 week and he'll go get a good rank. Somebody will read whole year and he will pass but still fail in one subject, but he'll go year on year. And I have seen them now, they are all chairmen of big pharma companies and doing excellently well. So if we had treated them as failure there, they would have less. So what was the basis? The basis was what I asked them, every student I ask is, okay, you have come to our institution, you have joined here. Now, what do you want to achieve? You'll say, sir, I want to become say, an entrepreneur, or you'll say, I want to get a job in multinational, or I want to become a teacher or a researcher. I said, these are all positions. This is not what you should become. So then they'll say, I didn't understand. So I say, what is the purpose of your life? So I go to that level. The purpose of your life as a healthcare professional is to save lives. So if this motivation is given to the student that if you are a healthcare professional, that you are saving lives, and so it's important for you to work towards that, so they may learn at their pace and they be able to achieve that. So I think what we need is in this hyper-competitive world with all these challenges, whether it is placement or whether it is getting highest packages and moving to some institutions of national importance for their higher studies or doing their PhDs overseas in MITs and Harvards, okay, that's all is fine. But in that, I think we have to motivate them to first understand this purpose and how they can achieve these things, and the metrics will always follow. Lastly, I would like to say and conclude here is that just I was reviewing all our, particularly I am now overseeing also the engineering colleges, so I was reviewing the engineering performance of the different institutions of JSS group. And in the placement, there was the number of students who are there and number of eligible students for placement, and then how many were placed. I said, who decides that students are eligible or not eligible? So they said, no, there is a company requirement. They say this, that. Okay, one company's requirement may be that it is, I want only these things. Not all companies are telling that you are not eligible. So why do you disqualify a student that he is not eligible and declare him a failure there? So let him get an opportunity where he has to appear for a placement. Maybe A company will not take him, B company will do, then he will realize and he will try to improve with his interview to go to the next session. Otherwise, we reject them at the beginning. So they all will go out, graduate, he goes out with the idea, I am a failure. I think what we need is to really feel the students understand that we are caring for them and we are interested in their welfare. I think that brings about the change. I may be a bit philosophical in my telling these thoughts, but I think this is very important to understand. Thank you very much.
Beautiful, beautiful, Dr. Suresh. Yeah.
Adding to your point, sir, what we are doing is, this was our stress in our university also, that who is disqualified and who is qualified. That was the tension. So what we have done is, then we ask from day one to the students that this is a particular company coming, it is their requirement. If it is of your choice, you are qualified for it. So in that way, they are not tensed because.
Wonderful. Dr. Suresh, you really went to the core of questioning on what is the purpose of life. I think we are very fortunate today that later this evening, Puja Gurudev will be personally with us. And I think for all of us as educators, a good moment to take his wisdom also on his broader advice on that. And very pertinent points you raised about really sometimes our own internal policies and approaches, how that starts categorizing students and then making them more exclusive than inclusive. And that, Meghdut, brings me to you with over 4 decades, 100,000 students. Tell us your recipe. How, for example, we can create more inclusive definition of success for our students. That helps recognize, like some of the points that Sir said, or before also has been spoken, that academics is not their only performance, but how do we create that inclusive, again, quote unquote, framework of success that includes everything, other skills, everything else they do if they are on a campus, etc. What has been your experience?
I think, of course, 40 years is not how old I am yet, so it was not something that I've been doing myself. With the group that I represent, Techno India group, this was the first...
Yes, that's for your group, not your age.
For me, thankfully, yes. I do look young, but I think on that. But yeah, Techno India group has been around for 40 years, and we basically created the first ever private engineering colleges, the first computer centers back when computer education was not really a thing. And that also meant that there was a lot of social responsibility in sort of creating a safe space for education in a state which was overrun by communism for the longest time. And the ambition of an entire state, where I come from, West Bengal, it was not targeted towards creating leaders. The ambition was lost in a way where we were not really looking at creating leaders poised for success. And so our institutions have stood the test of time now with all of these years. We have almost more than 100 institutions that we're running in our own universities and schools and colleges. And when the generational shift sort of started happening, which is about 7-8 years ago, I started coming into the picture a little bit more. I think one of the biggest challenges we started seeing in our classrooms was the fact that the way that traditionally education had been done in our classrooms suddenly did not make as much sense anymore. And that's just because of a whole bunch of new information that is available to every single student on their phones. The overall, we were just discussing this right before, right, that the attention spans of our students have gone down so tremendously. We see a different reason for lack of ambition because people suddenly think that you can change the world sitting in the comfort of your room on your phone without really getting your hands dirty. And I think that's a real detrimental outlook towards education, because why do we even have education in the first place? It was created because you could challenge ideas. You could get down in the field and whatever was required in whatever field you're in, be it engineering, be it medicine, you can't become a good engineer if you've never gotten your hands dirty. You can't become a good doctor if you've never been inside the operating theater. But today, because of the nature of information itself, wherein there is so much vast information, all of us see that, right? On our Instagram reels, or just the amount of entertainment that is available, what ends up happening is our teachers, poor teachers, they are competing against content creators who are celebrities, and suddenly the classrooms are the places where the least amount of attention is being paid to the people who are being paid to do that job, right? How will teachers compete with people who are getting brand endorsements and they are spending all of their time looking great on camera with lights in front and speaking with poise and character that they're taught to do, right? Or they have a knack for. So the nature of inclusivity in classrooms in a lot of ways for me has been bringing about ways of looking at education differently, not just looking at education with outcomes needed for education itself. How can we increase happiness within our classrooms? How can we increase attention span, stickiness, I call it, within our classrooms? I was just having a meeting this morning with a 26-year-old kid in whose company Nikhil Kamath just invested, the Zerodha founder. He invested 170 crores in the company. You know what they do, these guys? They run a meme marketing company. They just make memes, and they raised 170 crore rupees. The average age of the company is 24 years old, right? The biggest companies that you see here around you in Bangalore, all of these companies pay them top dollar because news just does not work anymore. People don't want to watch news. Young people don't watch news the same way that, the older generations do. We want to get like, I mean, I have a sister who is 10 years younger than me, and basically if you look at any of our chats, it's just basically meme replied with a meme and another meme and a meme. So if you are targeting people of that generation, and I want to be relevant in the eyes of my sister because she's obviously the cooler one, she's an artist, she lives in London, she's just really cool. I'm never going to be cool enough if I don't understand the memes she says. And it's a completely different language. It's not the same language that you and I speak. So as a young person in education, I'm 33 years old now, as a young person in education, my biggest fight is to, if I may put it that way, youngify education. Because unless we do that, the classrooms are going to be boring. The classrooms, nobody is listening to anything that all of you are saying. No matter if you are the best rated professor, teacher, best ranked, you have all the rankings in place, I'm sorry, you're not being heard in the classrooms. So that's one thing that we're doing in terms of inclusivity. And another thing I want to really speak about here, which might be interesting, is I think we are creating, and I will speak about men for a little bit here. I think we're creating a whole bunch of weak men, if I may say so, in our generation, because we are losing ideas of compassion in men. We are moving towards men who are mardangi, as we say it. Toxic masculinity has taken the place of masculinity itself. And what is helping, what is making that happen is we are not creating men in our classrooms who are able to hold space for people around them who need that space. So that's another thing that I am working on very actively with through a bunch of organizations that I'm building. One of them is called Warriors of Love. And we are teaching young men to be better men by being more compassionate, being more kind men. And then eventually I hope all of society gets a little bit out of that, because it's an effect that plays out through the classrooms into the bigger society in general.
Wonderful. Meghdut, many amazing thoughts from you. Youngify education, love that term. And I think, Ravin, I don't know if you're here, but Ravin, so we need some memes out of the conference if the message has to reach our main stakeholder, which is our students, right? So we need some memes out of here. And absolutely, I think if we don't go closer to where they are, they won't rise higher to where we want them to. So beautifully said. Actually, I want to take a moment to talk about in Sri Sri University, Gurudev from the very day one insisted that Seva has to be integrated. And this, what we have seen is that outside classrooms, this is where rubber hits the road. This is where you meet reality. And this is where it gives you the life experiences of interacting with different age groups, multi-generational relatability happens, multi-stakeholder sensitivity happens, and I think that integrates those critical skills we have seen that are very essential. So we did a good round. Now we have about 15 minutes left. So I'm going to ask another round of questions. I rounded it off. Madhu ma'am, yes. So, Ravin, I rounded it off, okay, to the higher quarter. So I'm going to ask you a second round of questions, which if I can request you to give me point-wise answer, 2 points, 3 points, huh? Because we did the general comments. Madhu ma'am, starting with you. You have taken some very good steps, because all of these pressures, etc., we are seeing how it is causing mental health issues in students, depression, aggression is increasing, anxiety. We deal with it on our campuses. What are few things you have done to address mental health concerns, point-wise?
I think, well, last question, because now today we are here to celebrate Institute of Happiness, and thanks to QS that they thought of this also as a vertical of evaluating the universities and the colleges. So we started with, when our campus was blessed with the visit of the Dalai Lama ji. So he came and he just, in his speech, he said that let us have a happiness center. So it was just by default, he talked about it, and immediately from him only, we started with the Center of Excellence in Happiness, and it's such a popular center in our campus, the best. And then first, and then second, when we connected with Art of Living programs, academy. So we have started with a center where it is art of living, and we have made these programs, the happiness programs and the art of living programs, not as a activity, but we have made it a part of the curriculum. So now they are getting as a credit program, they are going to it, and the outcome, and I always talk about the outcome, and the outcome of this is that they have started enjoying whenever they feel low, and they are going to these centers. We have a different happiness lounges where they go, they sit, and they learn so much from the peers. Because they, as well said by the speaker, the 33-year-old, he's saying that learning span is going down. So in our times it was 60 minutes, now it has gone to 6 minutes. After every 6 minutes, student is physically in the class, mentally he is out of the classroom. So now what we have to do for that? So these are the centers where they can go, they can talk, they can learn, and these learnings are better than the learnings which he is learning in the formal setup.
Wonderful. Thank you, Madhu ma'am. Abhay, to you, 2 challenges that you see in making education more inclusive, the definition of success more broad, and 2 ways you think we can address it.
Yes, the definition of success truly has to change, and we as implementers of education, knowledge creators and disseminators have to lead that. I would suggest, let me start off with the problem that persists. Going back to the first question that you asked me, and I reiterate that, the yardsticks and the ways in which we measure the success of institution and its graduates have to take a fundamental shift. That would essentially mean holistically evaluating the institution in the kind of graduates and the personality that they produce. I suppose we should look at a change in the measurement framework, a more holistic, for want of a better word, approach is needed, and you can start that with student satisfaction surveys, data with a human touch. Student, how satisfied they are inside, outside the classroom, what kind of an impact do your alumni have on the society, what kind of a research impact does your institution bring about to the society. Creating an environment that fosters this would essentially start with students. Students have to know that they are measured not just in a very competitive environment, but in an environment that nudges them. Let's say, for example, their engagement within and without the classroom, an environment of conduciveness for faculty and staff where their teaching, learning abilities or teaching skills are enhanced to suit the generation that persists. The kind of home away from home that you can create around the campus. Okay. I think these are few things that you can implement, and most importantly, last point, Rajita, is we as educationalists should lead this by changing the narrative. It's not about success led by competitive environment, but by innovation and impact.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks, Abhay. Suresh, I'm coming to you to take your inputs, 2 or 3 points on, we have been talking about students all this while. I want you to tell us, how can we redefine success for faculty, on whom we are putting continuous pressure to publish more papers, more patents. How do we redefine success? 2 or 3 points.
First of all, I think there should be entirely a different approach when we talk about the faculty being in the system of education and what type of role they play. I think I'll go to the the grand old way of telling Mata, Pita, Guru, Daiva. So you have to have Guru in that position, not as a job provider or as a person who has come here to teach and is getting a salary. If he is a Guru, you have to recognize him as a Guru. I think once you recognize him, he is a Guru, and then try to motivate him, I think we'll move forward. For that, I'll just give 3 points, as you said. There are 3 I's in that. 1 I stands for telling the faculty the idea of the university. Okay, it is not just teaching, it's here where knowledge creation takes place. Thinking is coming loud. You can share your thoughts with the students, share your thoughts with us. How do we move forward. So the whole idea of a university which is there is to create such type of environment. I think unless we don't give them freedom and that feeling that they can walk in and share their idea which they are having and that thought which is there, I think they will then do only the job and go, and they will not do it. Then it just comes to performance-based appraisals. You got this mark, you get increment. You don't get increment. It ends up in that. The second is your intention. What is the intention of your university? Like, okay, you should share with them, look guys, I want to become, I'm now in this rank. I want to be in the top 50. I want your help. How can you help us?
Right.
So what is your intention? They don't know. They think that you have hired me, I have to take computer science class, I'm going and teaching, I'm coming, I'm giving 100% result. What more you want?
Right.
So I think our intention should be holistic to them. Like, it's not about teaching a class, it's not about doing this thing. We want you to be a part of the whole system. So that intention, what is our intention should be the thing. The last I stands for inspiration. Mm-hmm. So we as leaders, educators who are here, we have to inspire the younger faculty and tell them that, yeah, you guys go do good. I will try to help you. I'll try to see how I can take you forward. And they do respond very positively. I'll just tell you, one small example and end it. During the COVID period, there was a challenge whether we will have research publications or not. So I got the top 50 researchers in our university and made them sit there. So I got nothing else, no request from you. Only thing, if you are publishing 2, you publish 4. If you are publishing 4, you publish 8. This is my request from you. So you have that time, you have the work which you have done. There is availability now, you do it. And believe it or not, just this over a cup of tea, telling them with all our masks on, it resulted in the outcome which we want. So our intention was there, our idea was there, and we inspired them that we are working. I think it led to success. I think this is what is required. I would like to tell that let us treat Guru as a Guru. That's what I would like to say, and thank you.
How beautiful, how beautiful. Idea, intention and inspiration. Beautiful. Meghdut, coming to you, again, 2 or 3 specific things you would say that, innovation, I mean, you are a bag of innovations. A few innovative ideas which you can share what you have done, which everyone here can take back.
So instead of doing a couple of points, I'll talk about 2 interventions on my favorite innovation that I've done. And this innovation again revolves around my sister. Sorry for talking about my sister so much, but she has moved to London. It's been 2 months, she's not at home. I'm very sad, and this is my way of thinking about her.
I hope you have this being webcast live to her.
I hope not, because she hates being spoken about in public. She's she's the exact opposite of me, very, very introverted. But this never happened. Anyway. So my sister's 22 years old, and she basically was very good at school when she was growing up, like pretty much everyone in our family. We come from a fairly erudite bunch of Bengalis that have never come second in class, where up until grade 8, she was doing really, really well and really enjoying herself, topping her class, at least in the top 3, she was always there. And at some point, she went from top 3 to bottom 3 of her class, right? She was going to one of the best schools in our city that was possible, Modern High School. And at some point, we had an intervention with her. It was like, what is going on? Why are you failing out of school? She at some point said, just first thing she said was, oh, just my classmates are dumb. I don't like them. Like, that's not a nice thing to say. I'm sure they're nice. What I realized ended up happening was the environment of the school was not very conducive to the kind of person she was. Now, she's very left of center, very outspoken, hates being told what to do, nihilist as nihilist gets, right? And the school itself, however good a school it wasn't very inclusive, going back onto that initial point. So I said, hey, can I trust you to at least pass out of school and figure out something good for you to do? Can I trust you to do that as my sister? She's like, yeah, don't worry about it. That I have in my hands. Just don't pressurize me to get into engineering or business the way that you are, because I'm not cut out for it. I said, what do you want to do? She said, I don't know yet. I'll tell you when I'm done with 12th. I was like, okay, you can tell me what you want to do after 12th, provided you at least get 90% in your 12th. She gets 95%. After literally going to the bottom third. Now I'm like, okay, now we have had a deal, so now I have to hear her out. I say, what do you want to do? She says, I want to be an artist. Now in my entire family, not a single person in the last 14 generations has been an artist. right? We've only been engineers, lawyers, doctors, the traditional stuff. So she says, I want to be an artist. I was like, okay, now I'm screwed because now I have to figure out how do I send you to a global art school. My mom, on the other hand, is facing another problem. She's like, I don't want to send my daughter abroad or out of the state yet. We have to do something in Calcutta. So I started looking at global design schools, and I said, look, design and art schools. I said, okay, the only innovation I can do here is get one of these global design schools to Calcutta. I speak to some people, figured out one of the best French design schools, École Intuit Lab. I actually bring the school to Calcutta, open their first campus in the East, and my sister aces the test, gets into the school. That was the first intervention that I had with her. And she finishes top of her class, which was last year, where she finished 4 years of Bachelor of Fine Art. And again, we're having another conversation, which is when I realized it was time for a second intervention, where she says, you know what, I actually have no intention of becoming a professional artist. I was like, well, did you just waste 4 years of my time? All the trips I had to do to France and back to get a global design school to Calcutta? I mean, great, we have a fresh new school, but what about your future? She's like, I don't want to be an artist per se, but I want to inspire other artists, and I probably want to become a curator, but I don't know what to do yet. I'm like, okay, second challenge for me. This kid is looking up to me. I'm supposed to be her guru, quote unquote, and I know nothing about the world of art. I don't know what possibilities are there after this point. So I started reaching out to my friends. Thankfully, I have a rather large network of innovators and artists across the world. And I start reaching out to them. I'm like, I need to understand this very personal problem I have, biggest problem of my life, revolves around my sister. I cannot screw this up. Please help me. I said, come to art festivals. Start going to art festivals, including, we are just about finishing. This is when I realized that the only way for her to achieve what she wants to do at this time is to make sure she goes to one of the top art schools in London. And this is when we sit down, have the second intervention, convince the parents again that, okay, this is time for her to go and venture out. And she applied to 7 schools in London, got into 6 of them, and now she's at the Central St. Martin's and University of Arts London. And this is the kid that was failing out of class in 8th grade. And all of my friends who are global art curators think she's one of the biggest things about to happen, break out in the world of art. So innovation, my point, to sum up the entire thing, stems from failure. That failure was very hard for me to take, to see my sister, who was incredible, failing out of school. And innovation comes from the places where you least expect. This is a project that I'm very proud of, and hopefully that was just one of them, but so many kids are now being able to go through a global art education, and hopefully we'll be able to do that for whole other sectors.
Wow, great story, and I'm sure it will stay with everybody because stories always stay. So, Ravin, do we have a short rapid fire time, or if not, we close it? 2-3 minutes. So now, this is borrowed time. Help me here. 1 word answers. Huh? Only 1 word, not more than 1 word. Otherwise, switch our mics. So, Madhu ma'am, and we go just for the sake of ease. You have the mic there, Abhay? Okay, let's start with you. 1 word for you to describe failure. 1 or maximum 2 words.
To describe failure, for me personally?
Yes.
Wow.
Wow, okay, we take wow. Meghdut.
Nice.
Huh. Same.
Good, same. Vulnerability.
Vulnerability. Dr. Suresh, 1 word to describe failure?
Impact.
Impact.
I think failure to give direction for the success.
Okay, because I like Madhu ma'am 4-5 words. Okay, now we go this way. 1 word to describe success.
To achieve your failure, reverse of it.
Same question, Suresh?
Impact.
Impact, okay. Meghdut.
Authenticity.
Authenticity, okay.
Humility.
Huh?
Humility.
Humility. Abhay, back from you. If you remember, name of 1 student of yours who you could say academically, quote unquote, was a failure and today's quote unquote success.
Ruchir, clearly a student with disabilities, today heads one of the Tata Group's customer service business.
Wow. Meghdut?
My entire last story,
Yes.
going back to my sister.
So tell the name.
Raj.
Her name is Raj.
Raj Nandini. Yeah.
Rajnandini.
Yes.
Okay, Dr. Suresh?
I'll mention two students, if you can permit. One is Sammy Shanmugam. He is in US. He is having his own big company and doing exceedingly well. Another is Raja Naresh, who used to fail every year. He is now heading one big corporate in UK and very, very successful.
Wow. Madhu ma'am, from you.
One is Samir, and he is our first startup, and started with the try deal, and now he's working with the 10 companies, and company was taken over by Paytm. And second is Abhiraj, taking care of our whole system where we are using technology on his platform, which is Chalkpad. So I think these are the two students I'm very proud of.
Wow. So I think the quintessence of this session is Rajnandini, Ruchit, Abhiraj, Naresh, and hundreds of more such students who are telling us every day in our classrooms and outside our classrooms that I think as educators, we need to redefine our own terminologies of success and failure and create a more inclusive, a more vibrant, a more allowing ecosystem for all skills and all talents to flourish. Please give a hand to my fantastic panel here, and thank you QS for inviting us and putting us all on this platform. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Professor Rajita, and all our panelists for such a powerful conversation.
Ranjita, I've gone to many panel discussions. You've been fabulous. Round of applause for
Big round of
her.
applause. And I would say that it's not just, success is more than just achievements. You know,